welcome. Is UKIP falling apart?
Well, it was interesting yesterday watching Suzanne Evans. It was a bit like sort of watching a 1938 Politburo member criticising Joe Stalin. I don't know where she thought she was going with that. I know you chaps seem to buy this good old Nigel in the pub with the pint image, but believe me, he's nothing like that. He's a very ruthless operator, and even a hint of criticism from anybody and you have your membership card chopped up, and that's how it's been for some years.
Is that what happened to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and me and plenty of others. But that's how it is. The party was rebranded with a new constitution 5 years ago. It was rebranded Nigel Farage's UKIP, or the Purple Army, and that's how it is. I used to fall out with Nigel about it because I thought it was a dangerous gamble. I don't think the English respond very well to things like private armies. But anyway, it was a gamble to see if it came off. It didn't come off. And of course, there was this terrible dichotomy that we now have in UKIP. And that is that they have a party leader who's extremely popular with the membership. And the strength of the party is in hard-working, dedicated activists, which make all the difference. And a party leader who, sadly, is unelectable.
But what isn't Suzanne Evans very popular with a lot of UKIP activists as well, and UKIP voters? I mean, looking at the my Twitter line after yesterday's programme, there was a lot of praise for her and how she represents UKIP. She's less of a Marmite figure than Nigel Farage. Can the party really afford to lose someone like that?
Well, I would have thought probably not. But as I say, you don't understand how a lot of people don't really understand how UKIP works. Bear in mind, in 2009, UKIP started with 13 MEPs and finished up with 5 taking the whip. And even I was out, a long-time personal friend of Nigel, and shared a flat with him. You've got to understand how UKIP works. It is a very autocratic organisation, and there is no room for criticism. Look at Nigel's book. It was full of Pinky O'Flynn this and Pinky O'Flynn that, and he's out now. That's how the game's played in UKIP.
That's Patrick O'Flynn you're referring to, yeah?
Sorry, slip of the tongue.
Why is he Pinky in your phrase?
Well, he's tried to move the party well to the left, and so his nickname in the party is Pinky. Didn't you know that, Andrew?
No, I didn't know that. Mind you, it would have been quite difficult to move it further to the right, but never mind. I mean, in other words, the only one option. What do you make of these people around Nigel Farage, like Raheem Kassam and others? Does he have his own sort of Praetorian Guard in the party?
Yes, he does, and they're paid for by his private office. And what Nigel says goes, and that's how he runs it. That's not a criticism. That's how he runs it, and that's how he wants to run it. So yes, he does. Rather, it is a rather autocratic organisation. And that you can get away with that when you're winning, Andrew. You can get away with that. You're winning. Had he won his seat, and had the UKIP won some seats in Westminster, you can get away with that. But it's very difficult to be an autocratic general when you're losing battles.
Those of us who have followed over the decades the history of the hard left in this country have seen many factional disputes. They seem to relish fighting among each other more than fighting their own enemies. We've seen autocratic leadership there as well among various Trotsky and communist groups. Is it not a danger that UKIP is beginning to resemble some of that factionalism of the hard left?
Well, yes, there is. And of course, UKIP hasn't worked out how it's going to morph into a political party. It was a pressure group to get a referendum to move us out of the European Union. And good luck to it. And I'm a big still supporter of that. But UKIP hasn't worked out whether it wants to be a party of classical liberalism, libertarianism, Thatcherite conservatism, or even Bow Group conservatism, which is a new wing, which is largely represented by Suzanne Evans, who is recently, of course, from the Conservative Party, as so many of these people are. So it hasn't really worked out, UKIP, where it wants to be in the political spectrum. So schism is a natural result of that.
I thought that the Bow Group had been taken over by someone who was a staunch UKIP supporter, but let me just let that hang and come back to this point. Is there a danger now, UKIP's already down to about 8% in the polls, insofar as you would put any credence on the polls these days. Is there a danger that we get this referendum and then, whatever the result, UKIP is just written out of the script?
There is a big danger of that, but there is one white hope. There's a great gap in British politics for a classical liberalism, a liberalism, if you will, of Gladstone or even Lord Rosebery, and that is the view of Douglas Carswell. And at the moment, he is the only man that UKIP has at Westminster. He's also one of the cleverest men in UKIP, and he's also probably one of the chaps with, who plays with the straightest bat. So if he can bring UKIP towards that gap in British politics, there's a bright future for it still. And as I say again, the membership and activists are so hard-working and loyal. I've known them for 20 years. They're absolutely magnificent, and that's where the real strength of the party is.
All right, Godfrey Bloom, thanks for joining us this morning.